Failing in life and business only happens when you don't know what you're up against. So in this mini workshop, I'm going to show you two systems that are going to help you understand what you're up against when you're going through changes and how you can overcome them and create new habits so that you can keep it going. So this particular model that I'm showing you here right now is called the ECOC, and it is short for, or that's the short form for emotional cycle of change. Now, this isn't a new system. This has been around since the 1970s. It's probably not been seen by you or many others, but this is a system that's going to help you to understand what you're going through every time you try to accomplish something new, every time you try to change something. So we're starting out here at the top. So when we start at the top, basically, this is where you're excited. This is where there's lots of excitement, right? So we're excited and there's lots of amazing things going on. And this is where you have what's called uninformed optimism. So uninformed optimism, because why? You are optimistic that you're going to accomplish this. You are excited. You are thinking, wow, I'm going to take this idea to the moon, or my business to the moon, and I'm going to do everything that I can, and it's going to be amazing, and the people that I'm going to impact and the money I'm going to make is going to be phenomenal. So you start off very excited and you're going downhill, but then suddenly you hit a phase where it's called IP. This is informed pessimism. So informed pessimism is where you run into somebody that says, especially somebody you know, you run into somebody that says to you, who are you to do this? Are you capable of doing this? And then, or maybe you have self-doubt and worries and you're thinking, am I really tackling something too big? Is this going to be too hard for me? And so you have informed pessimism. And then you hit what is called the valley of despair. This is the valley of despair. And once you hit this valley of despair, this is where desperation sits in. And you're wondering, can I do this? Is this possible? Am I going to fail? And in the valley of desperation, you have an option. You can either go back to where you came from, or you can keep going. Those are the options. So at this point, it's a choice point. It's a fork in the road. Do you either keep going, or do you stop and go back to the way you were? And this all has to do with habits. So if you decide to keep going, which I'm assuming you will, then you will have what's called informed optimism. You see how this is working? So you have informed optimism. So you started off with uninformed optimism, and now you have informed optimism. Why? Because you play the who, not how game. You ask, who has done this before? Who can I follow? Who can I mimic? And then you start figuring it out. And you don't say, how can I do this? You just ask who and start working on it and figuring out. So you have this informed optimism because you think, wow, I can do this. You're getting more information. You're getting more opportunities and success. And then you have and then you're going to move into success here at the top. So, but there's also one step in between that I didn't remember to tell you, which is hopeful. Right here, there's something called hopeful realism. It's called hopeful realism. So hopeful realism is where you start thinking about the possibilities of it, and people start encouraging you. You find people that will help you and support you and help you to get you what you need. And you start looking at evidence. You start collecting evidence that this could possibly work. If there's other people that have done it, then I can do it, right? And then you move into informed optimism. And once you're in this informed optimistic state, then you're now creating habits, and you have practices and routines that you're doing that are causing you to feel good. And then you can move on to this success. And once you move on to success, of course, you've developed habits, practices, routines, and you're very confident you're capable of doing what you want to do without any hesitation. So this is the ECOC, and you're always going to run into this. So you can expect it. You can expect to run into it every single time that you are looking to make a change or you're trying something new. Now, I want to move in. So that's the first part. I want to move on to the second part. So I call this productivity mountain, and it's it's what you're going to try to climb, so you're going to be trying to climb this mountain as you're going through the emotional cycle of change. So you're going through a valley, but you're also climbing at the same time. So there's a lot of pressure, a lot of confusion. There's a lot of things going on. So when you think of this productivity mountain, this is where there's negative, or no value, right? This is right at base camp. So this is base camp down here. This is base camp, and there's no value down at base camp. Right? If you live in base camp, it's just comfortable. It's you can stay there. You're not going to be going through the emotional cycle of change if you stay there, right? And then this part is low value. So these are low value things that you can be doing in your life and your business. And if you want to equate it to dollars, it's low dollar value. And this is high value. So you move into high value. So now you're doing things that are more valuable, you're feeling good, and you're moving up the ladder. And this is the highest value. This is high lifetime value. High lifetime, we'll just say lifetime value. So this is high lifetime value, and this is where you're doing things that are impacting the people in your lives, and impacting your future, and impacting your health and well-being and relationships, right? And so when you're over here trying to climb, you need what's called escape velocity. You need this escape velocity. If you don't have escape velocity, and oftentimes escape velocity comes from having an accountability partner, or something that's helping maybe even a partnership that's helping you climb. And over here, you have what's called resistance, right? This is resistance pulling you down. So you have resistance pulling you down here, right? It's pulling you down. And guess what? Resistance is also known as habit gravity. I know you probably think this is crazy, but gravitational pull of habits. How can they pull you down? Well, guess what? Habits are like an elastic band. Stretch, 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 snap right back. You've seen it probably with your friends who have New Year's resolutions, start a new diet, and then they start the diet and then they flake out. Guess what? They snap right back to their old ways. Why? They didn't continue. They didn't create the patterns, the systems, the processes to get to where they need to go. So down here is base camp. That's where it's comfortable. That's where you can hang out, zero effort. But to go, you need to go up to the top of the mountain as you're going through the emotional cycle of change. You need to have escape velocity, and you also need to know that habit gravity is going to be pulling down on you, tugging down on you, and trying to get you to stay where you're at. And this happens to everyone. So as you can see here, the emotional cycle of change is what you're going to go through. You're going to end up in the valley of despair, like I showed you over here. You're always going to end up in the valley of despair down here at the bottom. And you have to either keep going and climb. And if you're going to climb, then you have to come over here to Productivity Mountain, and you have to have some escape velocity. And you have to do higher value. You start off with doing higher value things for you, for your life, for your well-being, for your future, and then move into high lifetime value. Once you move into the high lifetime value, then you have power. Then habit gravity can't tug on you and take you back down to where you were at base camp, because that's where you started. But just know that these are the things that you're up against. These are the things that will hold you back. These are the things that will cause you to quit. And that's failing. If you quit, you fail. So I'm going to show you both of these so you can have a look at them, the nice finished product instead of my scribble. So you can take a screenshot of this if you like. So as you can see, you start off with uninformed optimism, UO, and then you move to IP, informed pessimism, and then to VOD, value of despair, and you move to HR, hopeful realism, and then informed optimism, and then off to success. And that's where your expectations are being met. Your future self is now meeting up with your present self. And then the final thing I'm going to show you is this. This is the Productivity Mountain. And again, you can take a screenshot of that if you like. But basically, this is base camp, negative or no value. You need escape velocity. You need to have a future vision of yourself. You need to have an accountability partner. You need to be taking steps and moving forward. Otherwise, habit gravity is going to pull down on you. All right, so this is Dan LeFave. Hopefully you got something out of this mini workshop. If you did, let me know. And if you have any questions, certainly send me a direct message, and I'd be happy to speak with you. Take care. Bye for now.